It's going to change more, in my opinion, as we move forward next year. I think you'll see the ability for schools to have a certain number of practices, 20-ish, from the end of the season all the way up till July 1. Pads or no pads, and you can do them however you want. And that can adjust what you're talking about some in the future, because I think that'll be the next step for college football.
How big is this summer for a new defensive or new offensive line? You're trying to get guys installed. How big was that just to get them better and get more prepared for the fall?
I mean, it is, but like part of that 35 are 2 or 3 offensive linemen that have a chance to play in the first game, and they weren't even here. So they need to train themselves in this month of July. So our coaches have given them what they want them to do, 4 days a week. And they have to take it upon themselves to do it, because by rule we can't coach them in July.
You had this opportunity for a reset. Other than looking for just the best coaches you could find or best players, was there a quality or two that you were looking for in all of these people that you were bringing into the program this year?
So because of the way college football is going, my job has changed considerably the last 3 years. One, my hours and days have increased, and my X's and O's time has decreased. So what I look for is a head coach on offense and a head coach on defense, and ask them to do that, because I can't be there. Not that I can factor in, but I don't have time to be as involved. That was important, and that took maturity. So we weren't in a position to bring a young guy in at that position based on what I was looking for, right or wrong. And then we're still looking for players that fit into our culture, that we think will be successful in our geographical environment, in the system that we've set for 20 years. Now they need to be good enough, hopefully, and we've evaluated them properly, but they still need to fit in our culture, or they'll be disrupted with the flow.
Coach, I know there are a lot of uncertainties, this year with all the roster turnover, but is there something that you've seen so far that gives you confidence this group can bounce back this year?
Well, I'm confident that we're fine. I just don't know when we're just going to show up. I don't have any doubt about the coaches that are here now, and I don't have any doubt about the talent level we have. When I use the term uncertainty, it only means that I don't know when it's going to happen, because I've never been in this situation before. So I'm hoping by the middle of August, our coaches will say, okay, this is who we are, this is our identity on offense, this is who we are on defense. Now let's find a way to get ready to play in the first game. Because whether you like it or not, once you get into the season, it's over. We get 2 practices a week, and they're not very long, and they're getting ready for the next opponent. It gives us a chance to prepare, and then have an extra day and a half to, go play a team that's going to be in the top 5 in the country. So we need that extra day and a half.
And I think one of the things you'd said in the past was it kind of keeps you from having the conference mandate that you have. That's played out pretty well, right?
Yeah, it has. You can either take it upon yourself to do it, or you can have it done to you. And so we've tried to get out in front of some of that.
It feels weird asking this because Ollie just left, but is this one of the deeper running back rooms that you think you've had? It feels like there's 5 guys in there.
Our running back room's a lot like this conference. We could have 5 guys that could go out there and rush the ball for 100 yards. Now, I don't know if that'll happen based on, we might have the luxury of fresh guys being in there, but we've got a pretty deep room at that position.
Challenging is Kenyatta's job. You talked about how important he's becoming, but how challenging is that job because of the changing nature?
Yeah, so you have Rob Glass is the stability of the program, right? So you want him there more than anybody, including me. And then you have the scouting department with what Todd Bradford does. So that's in its separate identity over here. And then you have what Kenyatta does, which is extremely difficult. And he's in the process right now of training Ryan Simmons. Okay, so we hired Ryan Simmons to be his assistant. He's been with us a month. Kenyatta's the only person that knows what he does. Nobody else knows what he does. Nobody else has experience in the NFL with contracts, the NFL Players Association. Nobody has the experience with agents, the communication. He is a integral part of this moving forward. Like if he was to say, okay, I'm quitting unless you all quadruple my salary, they would have to quadruple his salary because nobody else can do what he does. So, you know, it's like in the workforce, somebody should have told all of us, you make yourself irreplaceable and so productive that your boss says, I can't lose that person. That's where he's at. Kenyatta has an advantage because he's a great communicator. Like, everybody likes Kenyatta, and he can talk dollar figures with 19-year-old kids. Think about that. Okay? If you have children that are that age yet, to talk hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe millions of dollars with a 20-year-old and try to make sense of it, extremely difficult. He can do that. And he has unbelievable relationships with agents and representatives, and they trust him. And when they trust him, they'll communicate with him. And he has information. Information is powerful. So what he does is extremely important, and I would highly recommend that Oklahoma State never loses him.
What's sort of the order? Does it start with Todd identifying a guy, then it gets passed to the coaches, and then it goes to Kenyatta? Is there like a system that you guys have, or is it a little different?
So our scouting department watches everybody. They've watched all the 26s. They've watched the majority of the 27s. And then they break down those numbers and they'll pass it on to their position coach, because they all have their position coach. And then that position coach is responsible for evaluating those players, because I'm holding them accountable for coaching those guys on Saturday. They need to be the ones that brought them in. So I don't want the discussion going on, well, I didn't want that guy. So ultimately, our scouting department puts them in a position to manage their time better. And then they need to decide who they want. And then they have to finish it. They got to go get them. And that's the challenge, right? So what's different now is, wouldn't you think in the latter part of November there'll be schools that are desperate that will go make big runs for good players and offer them a lot of money? So that's going to be the challenge moving forward. So hopefully the coaches and the scouting department has a relationship with those young men that they can hold when somebody comes in and gives them a 25% raise before they've ever stepped on a campus. That's going to be the challenge moving forward. That's my guess. I don't know. It hadn't happened. I'm just looking in the future.
Mike, we see.
I still think we need a college football commissioner.
Do you want that gig?
Do I want that gig? No. I don't want that gig, but somebody does.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work for whoever takes it.
Yeah, whenever I'm done coaching, I'm not going to spend those kind of hours doing that.
It seems like, especially the quarterback position, we all know how important it is. A lot of money is getting thrown at high school quarterbacks. And you look around the Big 12, and there's a lot of teams with quarterbacks that they brought in as high school guys. But you look around all of college football, and that isn't necessarily the case. How do you, I hope I'm not asking a question that's too in the weeds to answer, but like, how do you parse that out? Because you, like you say, you've never seen this guy throw a pass in a college game, and now with the portal, you get a chance to see all kinds of guys throw passes in college games before you decide, do we want to bring them in? So, especially that quarterback position, how do you parse that out with the money?
So there's a, Kenyatta can explain better, but there's a market value, believe that? Is that crazy? There's a market value for high school players all the way to their sophomore year. So there's a market value for the guys that are playing down the road here that are sophomores. In somebody's opinion, based on a software that, in my opinion, came from what NBA uses on the free agency market. And then you have the same evaluation. You put all the information in on a portal player. Minutes played, years, injuries, number of tackles, sacks, everything, and then you get a figure, and then that figure is a starting point. So it could be the same for quarterbacks, and then you got to decide how bad you need them. And some people figure, I need that guy really bad, and that's when you're seeing an exorbitant amount of money spent for a player whose value might not only be less than half of that. And at the quarterback position, it's even more difficult because they can jump around so much, and we've seen quarterbacks that can pop up that people didn't really think had a real marketed value or were going to be good players, and like, where'd that guy come from? And that's what's scary. It's a question you're answering. So we recruited Zane. We know him, okay? So we like that. Doug knows Hoss because he's been there.
Is that position?
He's seen him throw a forward pass.
Is that position maybe more than any other one where you maybe do have to sort of try to have your own guy, a high school guy you brought in, and then leave the door open to bring in a transfer? Is that because if you needed a brand new linebacker core, you could go out and bring him out of the portal?
No, that's right. You're right. So I think that's going to be a part of it. So you're always going to want to go take a high school player. You've got to have people in your system to build, right? But you're going to have room in your salary cap and in your roster management to bring in portal players, particularly at the quarterback position, because the guy touches the ball every snap in most cases.
It feels like that's the position where you've got to be okay with maybe money never, like,
wasting money.
Yeah, wasting money, right?
Part of it. Yeah, they have leverage. It's the same way in the NFL. Like, there's 32 teams in the NFL, I think, right? Isn't that right? And they have 3 quarterbacks on every team that are active. So those numbers are around 96, somewhere in that area. And then they keep players on the practice squad. Most all of them keep a quarterback because they're scared. And so it fits the same. And then if a quarterback can show any signs of success at that level, he's going to get really good money for 10, 12 years because they say if something happens, at least we can put him in. And that's what happens. But you might invest a lot of money in him and they might not ever play. Same thing for us now.
You mentioned the NBA earlier. Got me thinking. Have you talked to your buddy Mark Dangmo lately?
You know, I texted him during the season, but I need to give him a ring. I think he's going to come up in August and watch some practice again, but I need to call him. I think enough people have congratulated him. I don't think I need to tell him good job. Has Mr. Presti rewarded him yet?
Not that I've seen.
Not? Okay.
I don't think
I mean,
really,
other than the parade they threw.
right.
Yeah.
He's got a day. I mean, the mayor gave all the guys days, like it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander Day at one point.
Good job.
In the city. Mark got one of those. So
Good stuff.
I don't know how he celebrated, but
Yeah.
Last 2 questions, folks.
Like, you got to share the stage with some coaches, Coach Dillingham, Deion Sanders, Kalani Sitake. Like, do you think like this is maybe the best group of coaches the Big 12 has had in a long time?
Pretty good group. So when you look at it, you have guys that have been successful for an extended period of time, and then you have what would be relatively new guys that have come in that have had pretty good success early in their careers. So it's a pretty good group, and it's a good mixture. A little different style with each coach.
You mentioned earlier, you said normally the 2 deep ahead of your vacation. You said there's more uncertainty than ever. You mentioned 8, not sure about 8 starters maybe. Is there a position group or 2 where you feel more confident about you already feel like you know who's going to be starting in those spots?
Well, I'm comfortable with the talent level with our team. I'll tell you that. Again, the definition of uncertainty for me is not really knowing who's going to be out there, but I think they're talented. The one position is in our secondary, there'll be returning starters that we've seen play. We brought one with us here. But beyond that, you're looking at a new team. You really are. All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.